Hey! I won big at the casino. Well, I didn't, but I'll get to this in a minute. On your head beer, I'm assuming you've gone now. From this point on, this will contain spoilers for Secret Cinema's Casino Royale. The way that Secret Cinema is designed is that everybody's experience is different. For example, another member of my party who went, they ended up doing an entirely different mission to me. So when you first get there, you kind of walk down this red carpet-like thing. It's just red painted concrete, but it kind of adds to the feeling and the vibe of this kind of VIP event. And as you walk in, you get there, you have the James Bond photo booth is on the left-hand side, and then there's a little bar where you can get some drinks before you go in, and then the building and the main entrance is all on the right. Depending on what color we were in, so I was in green, your color is represented in a bunch of flowers. And what you do is go to your agent who you're meeting, and when they have enough people gathered, they then call you closer for a mini briefing. What we were told is that we were going to be sent to the grand opening of the Casino Royale, and that we had to try and find a contact. Now this contact was going to be a financer who was going to be given, I think it was $100,000. I couldn't remember then. When I did the video for that, I couldn't remember then, now I can't remember now. They were going to be given a very large amount of money. It was our job to track down this contact. We all had to have business cards, so these were my business cards. Because mine was a tech entrepreneur, I actually made my business cards to have QR codes on the back. Now, they did work. I did it on a free trial. Our mission was to find a certain contact who we had to get their business card, and then we had to take that back to Q Branch, who were in London, and mission accomplished. The next thing you get given is a little pouch, but you know you've got those tags on clothes that magnetically snap shut. So it was basically closed by one of those. So even if I'd wanted to get my phone out whilst we were in the middle of the event, there was absolutely no way I was getting in this little bag. I took this little bag with me to carry my stuff around, and it fit in there. I had to fold the top over, but it did fit perfectly. So, you know, take a bag. But once you're in, we were then ferried through the main doors and then into like a little, I don't know, reception room. There's a lady on the stage talking away to us, kind of greeting people as they came in. We're all standing there feeling pretty fancy with our drinks and looking quite dapper. And when enough people are in, the lady starts to talk, and she starts to do this raffle thing. Bang, 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 bang! Shots go off. We're all like confused as hell, because here's us thinking this is just a nice little reception. And then suddenly everyone's like, get out, get out, get out. So you're kind of herded out and basically walk into every location that's part of Casino Royale. So we had Madagascar, we had Venice, we had Miami Airport, there was Montenegro, you could go to London. But it's so difficult to explain, and I obviously don't have any visuals to show you, which is a little bit annoying. And it was just so well done, and it very quickly became apparent that we were going to have to travel around the world. For me and the green team, we were looking for Tori Detents, I think that was his or her name, and we were told the last place Detents was seen was Venice. So as soon as we got in and we worked out kind of what the gist was, the members of my party that were in green, we all headed to Venice. We walk into Venice Square, which is a restaurant with a singer on the stage and a bar, and I instantly clock a guy in a beige suit, head-to-toe beige suit. So he stands out because obviously everybody else is in black and white and he's in beige. I should probably talk to you about June. My character's name was June Birchley. She was a tech entrepreneur. Her backstory was that she had come up with a way to share content online, and she was the developer of the retweet function on Twitter and the share function on Facebook. You wouldn't have heard of her company because she was a consultant for big firms like Facebook, like Twitter, like Instagram, helping them out with optimizing their platforms in a digital performance. I wanted my company to be a little bit elusive because it was like, oh, you won't have heard of me, so don't worry if you haven't heard of me. Turns out, I didn't use June's name, I didn't use her backstory, I didn't use any of these cards, I used nothing. Some members of my party did, but just the way that my story played out, I didn't. In this square in Venice, see the guy in the beige jacket, and I decided I'm gonna do like a little saunter past him. As soon as I walked past him, I was like, aha, I've got your attention, I'm gonna turn and talk to you. Lo and behold, Dad, who was in my team as well, rushes up behind me and he was like, Alice, I think that guy over there is shady. And I was like, Dad, you ruined my move. We basically decided then that we were gonna tail him. Super secret spy mode activated. We tried to blend in with the crowd, listened to the singer, kept an eye on him. Suddenly he disappeared. Hot pursuit, dashed out the back, found him. And as you got around the back of the square in Venice, there was a crowd congregating. So there was this guy who turns out was Mr. White, which on reflection, I should have got that earlier. So it was Mr. White, it was a guy with some glasses with one of the lenses covered from Casino Royale. James Bond fanatics are going to know who that character is, and I'm so sorry I don't. So he was kind of rallying the crowd, and he then basically introduces Vesper from Casino Royale to Mr. White. At this point, I didn't know what we'd stumbled into, or the mission route we'd basically ended up falling onto. It turns out we accidentally joined the bad team. Oops, my bad. At the end of this meeting, the guy with the glasses basically said, you know, whoever's with us, go out of here, go right, go to the red bench, and you'll find a lady in a blue jacket with red hair waiting for you. This actress, she was phenomenal. Her character's name was Esther, and she was just, the minute she started speaking, you were like, I'm just with you. I'm with you to the end of the line, because she was just like, oh, darling. Don't you just love being in the know? It's so fun being one above the rest. It's so great just knowing everything. And she was just so confident, just oozed awesomeness. I wanted to follow her everywhere. Probably about 7 or 8 of us congregated with her. She didn't hang around. So it was very much a case of, if you want to follow this storyline, we got to go quickly. Which we didn't know, but luckily we did. So we went with Esther, and then she started basically telling us, like, congrats, you've chosen to leave MI6 and help us double check that our financiers are actually trustworthy and we can trust them with this amount of money. So there's me standing there going, well, shit. My initial plan was I'll follow her because she might lead me to detents, which is what I was trying to do. That didn't happen. And she pulls out 5 business cards, 5 different colored teams, 5 different targets we had to follow, 5 financiers we were trying to track, and Esther had all 5 of these business cards, which she said. I was hoping that I would end up with Detents' card, because if I had done, I'd have completely backed out of that mission, taken that card straight to Q Branch, and I'd have handed in the information, which is what I was hoping to do. That's not the card I ended up with. I ended up with Athena Christia's card. On the cards that Esther had, you had the business associate's name like this, but there was also a handwritten name. And our new mission was to go and speak to the person whose card it was and ask them for information about the handwritten name. We were trying to test whether they would give up information about these people for money. And it turns out, spoiler, but 4 out of 5 did. So I ended up grabbing a card from Esther because I was like, I want to play, give me a card please. So we ended up pairing up with this other couple to go and speak to Harris. We were asking him about James. It wasn't my card, so I can't quite remember. We were then sent to Madagascar to go and find Harris, and we had to ask him if there was a price in which he would give up information about James's whereabouts. We were then taken by Youssef, who then basically became our guide for the rest of the evening. And he took us to Madagascar, pointed out who Harris was, and sent us on our way. Because it wasn't my card, I wanted to allow the other couple who were there to do the interrogation, basically. And bless, they tried, but they got a little bit flustered, and I could see that the actor was being quite harsh and, you know, pushing. So I decided to step in. I knew that he wasn't going to take any crap from any of us, so I literally just went up to him and look, cut the bullshit, okay? You know what I want to know, you know what information I'm asking about, so let's not beat around the bush. You're either going to tell me the information or you're not. It was so badass, and I'm not doing this story justice in this retelling, but it was like the best moment of my life. I just felt so elated and so badass doing it. After a little bit of this back and forth between us with him going, I'm not telling you anything until you tell me who you work for. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you who I work for because you know who I work for. So we don't even need to go over this. Just cut the bullshit and tell me what I need to know. Because I didn't have anything else to say. I didn't even know who I was going to say I was going to work for. Because I hadn't gone into that situation even prepared to step in, let alone do what I did. Maybe after a couple of minutes, he leant over and basically just muttered in my ear his price for the whereabouts, which was 10 million or something. So then I instantly went, thank you very much, and walked off. So this other group's like, hang on, what did he say? What did he say? And I said, look, he's told us the price he wants for giving information about James's whereabouts. That's all we need to know. The number itself wasn't important. It was basically, we knew we couldn't trust him as the bad guys. At that point, we'd all split off into groups. So we went and did one card, and then 3 other teams out of the people who had joined that mission went off and did the other cards. So we all came back. 4 people all gave up information. Now, the one card that was left was mine. I'm standing there going, shit, I'm going to have to go and accost somebody else at this point for this card. But that's where the story went a little bit different. So instead, Yusef said, you know, she's a bit more, we don't have a lot of intel on her. We only know what dress she's wearing and we know she's in Venice. So I'm going to take the lead on this. He picked out my dad because he looked the most Italian out of all of us, which made my dad very happy. They went to Venice as my dad as like his bodyguard. And then we just had to be around. We were trying to use an intimidation tactic. So Yusef kind of went up and tried to pickpocket her and then said, look, give me information about so-and-so. We've got you surrounded. You can see all my people. And that was where we were supposed to be like, hello, we're working with him. But she didn't get riled. She got really antsy and just kind of stormed off. So for that, Yusef was like, right, she's trustworthy. We're going to give her stuff. This is the point where I decided that I was done working for the bad guys and that I was going to go back to MI6. I've got the card with contact information about who's going to have the money, because they were basically all being given briefcases of money. And we were told that the untrustworthy financiers were going to be given empty briefcases and taken out, whereas the one trustworthy one, Athena, was going to be given a briefcase full of money. So at this point in my head, I went, I'm the only person in the game who has this business card and knows this information. I basically thought I had the golden goose. I thought I had the winning card. I thought I was going to take home all the glory. I was ready to be applauded as I bowed and walked out, the hero that I was, having caught the suspect. I basically said to my party, look, cover me, I'm gonna ditch, because Yusef was then taking us off to a vantage point in Miami airport where we could basically see one of the people get accosted for betraying the bad guys. I basically said to my half of the party, look, I'm gonna go, I just need you to cover me, make sure Yusef doesn't see me leave. I'm gonna take this to Q Branch, because not only can I give them the information, but I can tell them, forget everyone else, let's get this person. This is the person who's gonna have the money. Obviously, these things are designed to play out in a certain way, and obviously I was designed to never get that information until it was too late for it to actually be actionable by Q Branch. I didn't know any of this. I was hunting for the glory. I felt like I was the only one who knew this information and that I was in a very specialized position. It fell flat on my face. Where Q Branch was, you had to show that you had a business card and then they'd let you in. There was this computer where you were supposed to input the information, basically. And I'm pushing buttons on this, but obviously at this point in the game, that's been locked down, because what I didn't know until I walked into the next room was that Q Branch were already dictating the pursuit of the 5 financiers. Didn't know that. I was too busy accidentally being with the bad guys. I ran straight through to the other room and found the guy Q, who's on the microphone. I was like, well, I can't go and talk to you because you're on the microphone. I'm not going to interrupt that. And then I found M. Anyone who's seen any James Bond knows who M is. Yeah, I'm just going to interrupt M. Excuse me, sorry M, but this is the person we need to chase. And the actress was great. She's obviously not used to people at this point coming up to her and giving her this business card, this information, because the assumption would be if you've joined the bad guys, you're going to stay with the bad guys. I'm a double agent, you see. This lovely actress, she took the card, she was like, all right, thank you. Athena's screen is that one. Keep watching that one. If she's got the money, you'll see it. So there's me going, oh yeah, I'm about to get all the glory. I'm fantastic. The catch Athena, open her briefcase, and it was empty. oh my god, I just told M, the head of MI6, she would have the money, and now she doesn't, and now I look a fool, and I don't know what to do. Doesn't matter who you're trailing, Athena is always the one you have to watch. She's the only financier in the hustle and bustle that gets away alive. And we know that because we were with the bad guys. She's the only one they decided not to kill. So this lovely actress M turns over to me and goes, "You did a really good job, operative. Well done. Keep an eye on Athena. She's going to be in the casino. If you get down there now, I'm sure you can track her down. But good job, operative." And that's when we came together back with the rest of our party. And after that point, there's not really a lot more you do. So we were walked into the casino, and this is when everyone starts getting piled together. There was a little best dress parade going on stage you could go and get involved in. Then basically what happens is an unavoidable action, if you will. There's a hustle and bustle at the table. Yusef and Athena have a little fight, and then 002, who's just another agent, comes streaming in. Shots go off. Athena starts to escape up a ladder. 002 follows her up. There's a big bang. Oh no, raining money! All the money from the briefcase comes down, and that's how I got all this. And then you get like a voiceover saying Operation Wildcard is over. There's nothing more we can do. The trail's gone cold, but we've got an agent in mind to try and track it back down. Everybody cheers and goes crazy, and then you take your seats for the screening. The screening was great. It is very cleverly done because there are parts like, for example, when they're playing poker at the table, you have actors in front of you on the floor actually sitting around the table, but what I found at points was that I was watching the actors and having like the film's audio as their audio, the gestures and the positioning and the times they moved and all this stuff. It was so carefully studied. It must have been so carefully studied from the film because it was so accurate. It was really, really good, and it was nice because every now and then you're watching the film and every now and then the scene comes to life in front of you, or an Aston Martin drives in, or the scene where Vesper's in the shower, the Vesper actress sat and there was actually a shower effect coming down. It was very, very clever and really, really nice way to end off the evening. I thoroughly enjoyed myself, but there are a couple of things I would say that could make the experience just a little bit better. First off is we went as a party of 5 and we had 3 green agents and 2 teal agents. The problem with this we found was because at the beginning you're split and you're given different names to try and track down, and then you're told not to tell each other what those names are. So very quickly it kind of became an us and them, which was a bit of a shame because we were a group together and it would have been nice to have done the things together. My advice to the events team is that put parties in the same colour just so they can work together to try and find the same person. And it just keeps everyone together. I know there's a lot of people who go and sit down at the end. I think it can hold up to 1,500 people. So there's a lot of people in there sitting there watching the film, and there are pyrotechnics as well, so there's a lot of heat and stuff, and it can get quite stuffy and quite hot whilst you're watching the film, and the chairs are a little bit uncomfortable. So maybe in that department some kind of cooling system, or hand out handheld fans to people. I ended up using the tickets to just keep airing myself every now and then. But a massive thank you to Secret Cinema for their amazing event. I cannot suggest their events more. A little bit of tweaking and the such, but that's just one of the things when you have a lot of people and you've got to try and get a lot of people into certain areas at the same time and all this, that and the other. And thank you all so much for hanging out with me and traveling through the Casino Royale with me, finding the money, tracking it down, and sort of stopping the bad guys. We kind of did, we kind of didn't. If you enjoyed this video, go hit subscribe, share it with your friends, and show that like button some love. Stay awesome, and I will see you all in the next video.